Good afternoon, my name is Graham Sanders and my partner was Joycelyn Clay. Our project title was Reading and Writing Files with Python. So first we're going to define what the problem was. The problem was to take files into the Python source code and to be able to manipulate those files, the information within the files, and append data to those files. So our solutions steps were simple. First, we had to get the files transferred from text files to the Python code, then create lists and put the information from the txt files into list, take the list, manipulate the data that was in the list to a format that we can use, and then append additional data to those lists. So the first snippet comes with the beginning of our code. This code, basically as it reads, is it opens and reads the contents of a file into the Python code and then closes the file. This is the full code. The second snippet that we have here is it's taking the data that we got from the first set of txt files and reading that data into lists. Now that the data is in the, well, these are just the lists, the different lists. Now that the data is in the list, this little portion of the code is taking the first student, taking the first piece of information in the names list, the first piece of information in banner list, and the first piece of information in major list, relating it all to that student, and then printing that information. And this just shows you how we had the 8 students. This portion of the code is taking input from the user. So it gets a name. So what this snippet does is it takes input from the user, takes 3 names right here, and then takes those 3 names and appends them to the names.txt file. And the same code is written for the banner ID, and then there's a third code that's written for the major that does the same thing as the names files, that appends those new names taken from the user. And this is just the major code, which is the end of the snippet from the last slide. Well, what do we learn? We learn how to open files in Python. We learn how to read that information into the files into lists, and then manipulate those lists and append those lists. We also learned how to extract a file for information and zip whole files. We learned how to format the files correctly. And this was definitely an important one. We ran into a big problem when trying to create the list for the txt files to get the information from the txt into the list. So this one we definitely learned a lot on. These are all some of the basic functions that we use throughout the code. Go back. This was a main function. We had trouble with how it appended to the files. Certain things didn't come out the way we wanted, so we really had to play with it to get them to come out even and crisp. This is just creating a list, basic list creating. Our references, we used a book, we used the docs.python.org website, and then we used another automated boring step website, which helped us a lot. And that's all. It just ended too.
CSC. I'm gonna put music over it anyway, so
Yeah, fuck talking.
You can do this on your laptop, right?
Well, the way we can get the files to work on here, but when we try to send it to her laptop, it's just not running. So we're gonna do it on here.
FAYTECHCC. Look out. Look at the name. How you put the name? Right, that's what's Yeah, the dog is called Unicat.